Knockouts happen all the time in MMA, thousands of them every year. But listen, out of all the blood, sweat, and broken jaws, there's one knockout that still stands as the most brutal, the most horrific, the kind that'll make you question your life choices if you ever thought about stepping into the octagon. We're talking about the kind of knockout where the opponent looked like he was about to meet his maker, covered in blood and all. But hey, lucky for him, he survived. And if you follow MMA even a little bit, you know which one we're talking about. But for the few who might have somehow missed it, we're diving into the legendary clash between Francis Ngannou and Alistair Overeem. Buckle up, because this is one you're not gonna forget anytime soon. So Alistair Overeem strolls into UFC 218 with a resume that basically screams legendary. This guy isn't your average fighter who's had a few good matches. No, Overeem's been kicking people in the face for decades, and not just any people. He's taken down some of the sport's biggest names. Remember when he smashed Brock Lesnar back in 2011? Yeah, that's the stuff that headlines are made of, and it cemented Overeem as one of the greats. He didn't just fight in the UFC. Oh no, this dude had been all over the globe, taking on the toughest guys in Pride, Strikeforce, K1. You name it, Overeem was like the globe-trotting, knockout-giving, I've-seen-it-all veteran. And his nickname, the Demolition Man, absolutely earned. Those knees, absolute devastation. Now, what makes Overeem a scary dude is that kickboxing pedigree. You're not just getting hit by him. His knees, his kicks, his strikes, everything was sharp. And he'd gone toe-to-toe with some serious strikers in his career. So when he saw Francis Ngannou standing across from him, he probably thought, yeah, I've handled guys like this before. The confidence was oozing off him. Plus, the man was riding a hot streak. Back-to-back wins over Fabricio Werdum and Mark Hunt, both heavyweight beasts. So he wasn't just hanging around the heavyweight division, he was thriving. And here's the catch, he was also 37 years old. MMA is brutal on the body, and everyone started to wonder, is Overeem still the guy who used to dismantle giants? His brain was telling him, yes, but the rest of us, we weren't so sure. Enter Francis Ngannou, the absolute freak of nature. Ngannou wasn't just some guy in the UFC heavyweight division. No. This guy was the knockout king. By the time UFC 218 came around, Ngannou had finished every single one of his UFC wins by knockout. Every single one. You don't get that kind of record without being a human wrecking ball. And his uppercut? Oh man, it wasn't just a punch. It was like a sledgehammer coming at your chin at warp speed. Fighters didn't just lose to Ngannou, they were sent to another dimension before they even hit the ground. Physically, this man was a marvel. Standing at 6'4", with an 83-inch reach, Ngannou looked like he was sculpted out of stone. But it wasn't just his physique that was terrifying, it was the power behind it. Ngannou wasn't just hitting hard. He was hitting with enough force to knock the earth off its axis. His punches were legendary, but it was the speed and precision with which he delivered them that made him a nightmare for anyone standing across from him. But here's the thing that really made Ngannou special, his mind. This wasn't just a guy who showed up to punch people. Ngannou's story was the definition of grit. From growing up in Cameroon to living homeless in Paris, Ngannou clawed his way to the UFC with nothing but sheer willpower. This was a man who had never had it easy, and you could see that hunger every time he stepped into the cage. By the time UFC 218 rolled around, Ngannou was laser-focused on one thing, getting that heavyweight belt. Overeem, he was just another stepping stone. Overeem might have been the veteran, with all the experience and technique in the world, but Ngannou, he was the future, and that future was coming at Overeem like a freight train. Ngannou had something to prove. This wasn't just another fight for him. It was his shot at saying, I'm here, and I'm taking over. So while Overeem believed his experience would give him the edge, Ngannou had other plans. This was about to get brutal. The fight between Francis Ngannou and Alistair Overeem at UFC 218. Man, if you blinked, you probably missed one of the scariest knockouts ever witnessed in the octagon. Overeem walked in with all his legendary experience, decades of fighting under his belt, and a whole lot to lose. This guy had fought everyone and their grandma, so so he wasn't exactly trembling in his boots at the sight of Ngannou. But he knew, oh he knew, that Ngannou wasn't playing. Overeem tried to use that experience right off the bat, going in for a clinch, thinking he could smother Ngannou's power by bringing him in close. You could almost see Overeem's thought process. Let's make this dirty, use my grap and avoid those wrecking ball fists. But guess what? Ngannou just shrugged him off like he was swatting away a fly. Overeem's plan gone. Just like that. You could almost feel the entire arena hold its breath. It was clear who the boss in that octagon was. And then, bam, they were standing there, face to face, sizing each other up. Overeem threw a couple of half-hearted strikes, probably just to gauge what kind of monster he was dealing with. But Ngannou, he wasn't about to dance around. In a flash, faster than you'd expect from a dude that big, Ngannou unleashed the uppercut. Not just any uppercut, but the kind of punch that looked like it was launched from another dimension. 1 second, Overeem's standing there, trying to play it safe, and the next, boom, the punch came out of nowhere, straight to the chin. And when I say straight to the chin, I mean Overeem's head probably still hasn't recovered from the shock. Now, here's where things get chilly. Overeem didn't just fall. He was out before his body even hit the floor. His legs went stiff, his toes curled up like he'd seen a ghost, and down he went, collapsing in slow motion. The whole place was in stunned silence, like everyone just witnessed a man get launched into another realm. Overeem wasn't just knocked out, he was sent into orbit. That uppercut was so powerful, people probably felt it in the cheap seats. Less than 2 minutes into the first round, 1:42 on the clock to be exact, and it was lights out. Game over. And let's talk about that knockout fall. Overeem didn't just drop to the ground. His body folded awkwardly like someone had yanked the batteries out of him. His head snapped back so hard, it was almost like the punch had hit him twice. The force of Ngannou's punch literally lifted him off his feet, and the way he hit the canvas. It was brutal in every sense of the word. Even the commentators were speechless for a moment, and that's saying something. Those guys talk for a living. It wasn't just a knockout. It was total annihilation. The crowd, they didn't know whether to cheer or be genuinely concerned for Overeem's health. And rightfully so. When Overeem hit the mat, the ref jumped in to stop the fight. But Ngannou, being the savage that he is, still managed to land another punch before the ref could intervene, as if the first one wasn't enough. The medical team rushed in, checking on Overeem, and thankfully, he came pretty quickly. But for a moment, everyone in that arena had to wonder if Overeem would be the same after that. This knockout wasn't just a victory for Ngannou. It was a declaration. In one single, brutal uppercut, Ngannou showed the world just how terrifying his power really was. That punch became the stuff of legend, and overnight, Ngannou wasn't just another heavyweight contender. He was a living, breathing nightmare for anyone in the division.